Hi, this is Heather Schultz, and I'm doing my presentation on tort liability, EDL 850. Tort liability is a violation where a person causes an injury, damage, or harm to another person. The two kinds are intentional torts. A person intends to do a harm to the person. Examples of that are assault, battery, invasion of privacy. There are more things listed there for you to look at. And unintentional torts, when the person did not do it on purpose, but it's often because they weren't exercising a standard of care that is expected, which is where negligence comes in. My first case is Fennell versus Marion Independent School District. There were 3 African American students who were bullied and harassed at school. They were called very offensive things. Offensive things were sent to their cell phones. There were things done to their locker. There was really no effective handling of it by administration. The African American students were disciplined if they retaliated. However, the white students involved were not. The reactive measure, if this had happened at my school, the principal would be meeting with them, with a counselor, probably the resource officer. We have no tolerance for that, of bullying of any kind. The students would be reprimanded, and their parents would likely be called in for a meeting so they can discuss with the student and the parents why they're choosing what they're choosing to do, the word choices they're using, and set clear consequences for the future. You know, if this continues, this is what's going to happen. Proactive measure, how would I keep this from happening? First, I would make it very clear to my staff and students that we are a family, we all respect each other. I would have my counselors go and do lessons with every classroom at the beginning of the year, and then I would follow that up. I would visit the classrooms myself. And go through what did they learn? What do they know about bullying? What are our consequences at our school? Professional ethics, there's just no room for educators who allow this kind of behavior. It was racial, it was not okay, and if that's allowed, the staff themselves need reprimanded. Michael Moore versus the Wood County Board of Education and Gary Douglas Kiger. This is out of West Virginia, which is actually where I'm from. Michael sustained injuries to his neck and back. He was waiting on the bus. A student picked him up and slammed him on the ground and injured him. The issue is that there were people supposed to be on bus duty, and they were not there. So there were no adults there to even witness what happened. That's where it became a negligence issue. Reactive measure, if this had happened at my school, my principal would have already met with the staff who was supposed to have been there. Find out why they weren't there, and if a lawsuit was brought, I'm sure we would be told to find counsel. A proactive measure, how do you keep this from happening? You just make sure your staff realizes we have to ensure the safety of students. Yes, it's not fun to have bus duty, it's not fun to have lunch duty, but you can't all herd together and not watch kids. It's a huge pet peeve of mine. If we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, if something unforeseen happens, no one should be in trouble if we were where we were supposed to be. Professional ethics, we have very demanding jobs. We have to be on all the time. We're human, we make mistakes, but if we take those things seriously, like supervising kids, I think that we keep ourselves out of trouble. Brahacek versus Millard School District. I hope I said that right. In this case, a 14-year-old boy got fatally injured as a result of gym class accident. He was not there the day before when the gym teacher explained how to do golf and how to what the safety issues were with doing the golf in the gym. The boy was hit in the head by a club and accidentally okay, I'm back. I apologize. I'm recording at work and the custodian came in to do our trash. Anyway, the boy was inadvertently hit in the head with the club by the boy who was trying to help him. There was a boy who had been there the day before and was trying to catch the kid up. The boy unfortunately passed away 2 days later from the injury he sustained. It was very tragic, but in the end, it was found that the PE teacher wasn't supervising adequately. He had not prepared that student for instruction because the student had been absent the day that that instruction was given. And also there was a specific protocol that was supposed to be followed if the students were staying inside for golf instruction, and that was not properly followed, so that also made them negligent. Reactive measure, if this happened at my school, I would say There would be better training of PE staff on proper ways to supervise a large group of children like that. Make sure that when safety instruction is given, pay attention when students are absent. That is something very easy to miss. You have kids absent every day. Proactive measure, how would I keep this from happening? There just cannot be enough emphasis put on supervising students and paying attention to everything that's going on around you. I would use this horribly sad accident as a reminder to all of us that anything can happen when we least expect it. Professional ethics, the importance of supervision should always be stressed, but I also think that maybe we need to support our gym teachers when they have large classes, maybe when they're teaching something new, when they're doing something where the injury level might be a little bit higher. How can we help them? Do we have extra staff? Do we have someone that can go in there and give them an extra set of hands for that time? Mitchell versus Cedar Rapids Community School District. There were 2 special education students in the district. They developed a relationship. They were high school students. They left school early one day, and the girl, who was younger by 4 years, was raped off campus. This happened, and the special ed teachers typically that had these students would call the parents if the students were missing. Like, let's say they were there all day and then all of a sudden they weren't in their class, they would call. Well, they did not do that day. It's not an expectation of the staff to do that, but the special ed staff usually did that. For whatever reason, they didn't that day. So the district was sued for what happened to the girl because they did not do what normally had been done. The reactive measure, if this had happened in my district, I'm sure there would be a very specific protocol put out for special education students and their safety, especially if they're mentally incapacitated. As a proactive measure, how would I keep this from happening? The risks are out there for the unthinkable to happen in our schools, or to our students on the way home from school, or doing what they shouldn't be doing. I think in a high school, I would meet with all the special ed and the regular staff and decide, what are we going to do if a student is on the original absence list, but all of a sudden they're not in your class. Maybe the phone call at the end of the day isn't the I guess, most vigilant way to let parents know, hey, your kid's not in school right now. Professional ethics, teachers are counted on to care for other people's children while they're in school. We need to advocate for their safety, but we also need to realize that, we can't have unrealistic expectations of teachers. Is it realistic for a teacher to go call a parent every time a kid's not in their class when they have other students in the class? Probably not. Kara Kowalski versus Berkeley County Schools. This is a case involving cyberbullying. The student sued the district because they said they were limiting her First Amendment rights of free speech because they suspended her for creating a hate website against another student. Basically, they said she had created a disruption at school, and therefore that was not grounds to sue the school. Reactive measure, if this happened in my district, the student would have consequences. There's a clear bullying policy that extends to cyberbullying, and we often use our resource officers to help with things like this. Proactive measure, how would I keep this from happening? Especially where middle and high school students are concerned, I would probably have the resource officers address this every year at the beginning of the year, especially with cyberbullying. So they're clear on what is not okay and what the consequences are going to be if they do something like that. Professional ethics, teachers, staff, we need to keep our eyes open, ears open for kids who might be feeling like they're being bullied. We also need to know how to address the issue as soon as it's suspected and know what the consequences are for the students. And administrators need to make sure that those staff members and students feel supported. There are my sources, and that is all.